Thank you for joining us. Well, it's a great show. If you could tell us about your collaboration this year with Convergence India.
Yeah, I think the partnership is strategic because convergence also is a key trend globally and in India, and it brings couple of verticals together, which is our focus. And the second is it also gets senior industry leaders from these multiple verticals into single platform, which is of huge interest to us. And that's the reason why we partnered Convergence India 2015.
What would be the takeaways to B2B as well as to B2C?
See, this is actually coming at a time when the economy is actually showing signs of recovering, and I'm sure it's the same for the industry as well. And there are a couple of landmarks that the industry will go through this year and next year, both on the fiber, the broadband, and internet side of things. Things like IPTV or digitization, all of that will come into play over the next few years. So what it means is that it's a good time for us to also sort of look out for players of promise. And the takeaway would be that I think the optimism is back to some extent, which is reflected by the kind of participation and the number of people here. And the second thing is that the number of interesting technologies and all of that on display means that many of the innovations that was actually in the talk a couple of years earlier have hit the market now, are ready to hit the market, which is interesting as well. So that's the couple of key takeaways that you will have out of the show.
Right. Well, this question is addressed to you and also to your sector, the PR sector, because now PR is no longer a PR. It has gone ahead with a second role in itself. So, do you think events such as these of international stages such as this helps the economy and also other sectors?
Okay, it's actually two questions, right? The first is that events are very important to economy. If you really see, Germany has a city called Hanover, which is primarily a large city because of the event. So that's sort of, and you know the word called destination marketing, which is primarily about events as a fuel for economy. And then you have things like Olympics and all, where people do have clear impacts on economy. So if you look at it that way, events are critical, and that events of this scale happen anywhere, and particularly in Delhi, mean that it signifies a certain amount of positive movement or whatever. So that's the event part. The PR perspective is very simple, right? The word PR itself has actually transformed itself over the last 2 years, and I don't think so. We are no longer just communicators of a message. I think we are also custodians of how to shape the message, what the message should be, and how do you take that more effectively to the target audience and all of that. I think that is where I think we are all evolving, and events also need this messaging because today I think there is a clutter, and the only way you cut through clutter is to message effectively, and that's what we will help do to events. And of course, the third element I think, which is very important, is social and digital. My gut feel is, and I was just talking to the organizers of Convergence India as well, is that I think social and digital will increasingly become important for large events, and they all have to start investing in it much more than they're doing it today.
Right. I believe digital events usually is a packed house, and what is, if you could tell us more about it because you are in this field, and we had a great panel discussion, talked about mobile payments, internet, etc., relating to the entire telecom sector.
See, mobile and digital will always have packed houses for multiple reasons. A, they are cool. B, the audience that they address is extremely young. Three, it's sort of a very hot area with a lot of VC investments and all of that. So obviously, it will have a certain amount of pull, which, let's say, the broadband or others don't have. So obviously, I would say it's also, it connects to people, right? So while Facebook is something that all of us are involved in and interested in, and I think Facebook has a business angle as well.
Right.
So it is by default interesting. So I don't think so that you should even compare an apple to an orange. But yeah, digital will be interesting, and digital is the future. So obviously there's so much of interest, so much of momentum behind that. So there is obvious interest, and I think that's the way to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think there can be more space for players in the digital field with regards to companies and also as organizers such as yours to have more events?
See, digital is extremely vast. If you look at it, digital could be,
Yes, the
content-
entire gambit of
yeah,
digital
yeah.
video
So if you look at
content.
it, I think there is scope for billions of players or millions of players at least, and whether it's from the content side to the delivery side to the services side to the software side. So all the elements, there are scope for a large number of players. So people like us come in a very small way, where we say that we are looking at social and digital as a channel to reach your brand or organization to the right audience or the right stakeholder. So that's the role that we play. But that itself is a huge one. So digital is like Milky Way galaxy, right? So in that you have multiple stars, multiple all of that. So you will have a huge space to play in, and within that, what we play in itself very very large. And the very interesting thing is it's evolving. It's changing. Yeah.
It is indeed. Just the last question, if you could tell us, how do you filter the panel members, the moderators? How is the entire discussion done? Because this is something which is happening very frequently. So do you repeat conversations or panel discussions, or you keep in sync with what's happening around?
Yeah. So the one of the things that I remember is that because I've been on both sides, so I sit in audiences, and I think you sit in as panelists as well. I think increasingly the focus is with Google and others having come, not to say things that people would easily figure on Google. I think that's a fundamental thumb rule, right? The second is try and make it personal and anecdotal, right? All of us have huge experiences in our industries. So get something that you have figured or you have an insight or perspective that will be relevant to the audience that they will not get anywhere else, but only by coming to sit in the hall and listen to. And I think if any panel, any moderator, any speaker catches that, I think that's going to be of huge importance and relevance. So, and I think that's what you should always focus on. If you get that right, you're going to have audiences.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.